Like we don't celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate birthdays on birthdays, right? Like anything that's been formatted or laid out in the world for us, these are not being policed by anyone. You can do anything anyway, and nothing bad will happen.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Creating Connections with me, Nin Din. And today I have Keri Doan with me, and we've already had our intro call, and she's so chill, down to earth, and the way that our business and lives are set up, there's just as parents and entrepreneurs, creatives, there's so many things happening all at once. In fact, we encountered that today. But Keri does it all with such grace, with all of these nuances, and we don't know when things are going to happen and how they're going to happen, the different seasons that we have to embrace. I would love to give her a moment to introduce herself and share more about what she does and how she supports female entrepreneurs.
Thanks, Nan. I'm so happy to be here. I was looking forward to us chatting today. So my name is Keri. I am a Canadian business owner. I started my business as a way to support my family, my two young sons, and something that would kind of flow with all of the craziness of life. My husband is in the military, and our life is always shifting and always arranging around. So yeah, freedom and time has always been the top priority among anything else.
And because that's been a top priority, you've had to make adjustments in your life whenever something throws you a curveball. So after doing this for so many years, I imagine you're like kind of a master at like balancing all of these balls.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone said yesterday, like, and I think it sounds a little silly to say, but they were like, how do you do it all? And I was like, well, is there any other choice? Like, that's just what I have to do. There's no option. And so I think, and it's tricky sometimes to relate, like, with my husband leaving and coming a lot, we don't always have like the traditional roles that some people might have in their home. I stay the constant, right? So I am the person that makes sure I can do everything. If he happens to be here and can help out, perfect. I'll flow with that. But otherwise, I'm assuming that it's all on me.
Oh my gosh. You know what? That actually, is that how you anticipated going into like building a life with him, right? Like you knew how that was going to be, or was that something that you had to get adjusted to? Like because being a military spouse is just a huge responsibility in itself. And then add on to that your children and then your business, like, you know, did you say this is exactly what I want and I know how I'm going to do it, or was it something you that had to really evolve?
So he was not in the military when we met. We've been together for almost 20 years, so we were young, right? We were kids. And I think that the simplest answer is that it never occurred to me to not. You know what I mean? Like it was like,
Oh,
we're moving, I'm going with you. Like I never was like, do I, don't I, right? It was like, yep, here we go. Okay, we're doing this. Like it was never even entered my mind that we weren't on the path we were supposed to be on, right? And we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to do these things. And it never even entered my mind about do I, don't I, or should we or shouldn't we? It was always just like, okay, here we go. This is put in front of us. Here we go. Here we go. And for better or worse, it seems to have worked out so far.
I actually I love that you responded in I didn't imagine it any other way because to me what I hear is like, well, I trusted that it was going to work. Like I had faith that this is my path. So no matter what heads our way, like I know we're going to figure it out. And
Yeah.
that says a lot about to me that says a lot about your upbringing, like your experience in life and his too, right? The fact that you guys trusted each other to make it work because if this was the right path, like your relationship is supposed to be is meant to flourish and grow, then he has to also trust that okay, I can enroll in the military and we'll make it work, and we'll be able to continue to build our family. All of those things are still possible. And then you journeyed into your business and all of that. So now that all of that is like riding well and smooth, what kind of tips do you have for a mom who does want to start her business, who's really worried? Because I see so many moms who just can't find, they can't iron out space to grow their business because they want to be present for their children, or even during times when they don't necessarily want to be present because they're trying to focus on their business, and their children are like, hey, I want attention, I need this, I gotta go to the bathroom, or can you check this out, look what I just made. How do you separate those things? How did you learn to do it to where it made sense for you? And if that's something that's applicable to like the general, entrepreneurship female population, what was that process?
I think that my favorite discovery through the years has been that nothing needs to be the way that maybe we have been told it needs to be, right? Especially in our life. Like, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate birthdays on birthdays, right? Like, anything that's been formatted or laid out in the world for us, these are not being policed by anyone. You can do anything anyway, and nothing bad will happen. And the reason I use that as an example is because, you know, I see people, women that are in maybe a 9 to 5, and I see the stress and the weight that they're carrying when they have to like ask to take their kids to the dentist or to, get off early to pick them up from school because they're sick, right? That is a weight that they're carrying all the time. And I'm not saying that owning your own business is easy. It's daunting, and it really brings up anything you haven't dealt with in therapy. Owning a business will bring up for you really quickly. So it's of course has its challenges, but I think at the same time when you mirror that, those who are in roles where they answer to someone else, they're also carrying this weight and this stress with them every day where they have to kind of be in both roles and be in both places. Maybe they're coming home at like 5, 6 p.m. and then they're trying to switch and be that other person. And so it always felt to me like, what if I just didn't do it the way that I think I'm supposed to do it? What if I
Mm.
just did something different? What if it didn't make sense even to me, but I just try it? And sometimes, one day is like, actually, today would be a perfect example. I have been in full work mode today, but it's because we're going away this weekend and I'm going to be in full off mode this weekend. Or, like I said, like if my kids want to play in the middle of a Wednesday morning, I'm going to go and do that. I might work on Saturday instead, right? So it's like always this give and take, but it's something that like I had to see the beauty of. I don't have to fit into this mold of this thing. I've created this alternative world that sometimes doesn't make sense for everyone, but it turns out no one's tracking any of this. You can really do whatever you like.
Oh my gosh, that's, I didn't expect that our conversation would get there, but that opened up something that I absolutely love. And it goes um perfect with designing your life the way that you want it to be. Because first of all, life didn't come with instructions or like a perfect laid out plan. And we feel like it does though, right? Because we have expectations from people. We've learned from our parents, we've learned from our peers, and the people before us how things should look and how they should be laid out. But it's exactly like you said, like none of that is written in stone, and none of those people are you. None of them lived your life. So the best way for us to be our best selves and live our best lives, to be the best mom, entrepreneur, or partner that we can, is to really dissect what does make sense for me. If I'm an entrepreneur and I want my weekends off, well, maybe my weekend is on this Wednesday because my children want to hang out, and then I'll work on Saturday. I love that example because it
Mhm.
is, you know, staying out of the 9 to 5 for the choice that entrepreneurs have made doesn't necessarily mean that we aren't working all the time. Like it's exactly like you said, choosing to be an entrepreneur doesn't mean all of a sudden you're out of the 95 9 to 5, or even the full-time work hours, or even working 60 hours. It's being able to select and be intentional with when you do work, and then when you choose to be present for other important aspects of your life. And so is that something that you learned from, you know, someone within your environment, whether it be a coach, a mentor, your mom, or is that something that you just had to pick up over time? Is like, I can make adjustments, I can move things around.
100% it was just from lived experience. I really feel, as silly as it sounds, like I didn't actually have the best examples in life growing up. I really feel like my life began and I got to start to learn when my husband and I moved, right? When we got our own place together and we started to live life, that's when I got to start to learn what it was like to be who I am, whoever I am. I'm still not even 100% sure who I am, but that's when that started. Um, but it really was this like being thrown into the real world and life as an adult. Still not one of those either. And yeah, just really seeing, being observant, right? Like watching what works. I remember a friend being like, I laid out this routine for my toddler and like they're not going to nap at this time and then we can't go to the library at this time and da 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 da. And I remember just being like, well, what if you just watch their routine and then
Mm.
kind of like flow with it, right? Which of course, we all have things we have to do, but it's also like, what if we just observe and just like kind of pick up on the tempos of life that are naturally happening? And, for me, it just started to feel natural that like I can fit things around what's naturally happening, especially in those toddler years, because that's really tricky. And then, add the military, moving, deployments, all of that craziness. I just get to observe and then I watch what works. And yeah, there was no examples. It's just trial by fire.
Uh, well, that's I would love to ask then, as you're figuring this all out, because you told your friend that, which to me is like, oh yes, like that seems so simple, and it seems like something that I should have anticipated or seen for myself. Um, and I'm sure you were able to help her. So then, did that open the doors to being able to help other women? It's like, hey, I feel like I've got this dialed down and I'm not in constant burnout. And I see other women who are, but I know better ways. Like, how did that go about? Like, how did you get into the the process of like identifying where you can help people?
I do think that it was ingrained into me at a very young age to be helpful, to be of use and supportive. And maybe as a kid, that wasn't the greatest thing, but it has become something that I can leverage as my superpower. I can use it as a way to support people. It's not an easy thing to tell someone, like, if you're stressed about Thanksgiving, do it in July. You know what I mean? Like that's not an easy thing to convince someone because that's not how it's supposed to be. And so it's not always the quickest, journey to support someone through. But I did really realize early on, whether it's through a friendship or with my business, that I can figure out and anticipate things that someone might need just by being my observant self and watching and kind of seeing what the business is going to need, what my friend needs, right? Like those kind of things, and then supporting them and educating them through what I'm seeing on my end.
That to me is really cool too, because for people who do start businesses, they the first thing you want to know is like, okay, who is really successful in this field that I want to go to? How do they do it? And then how can I implement that same thing? And what I heard you say was there is a way to do it really well. But how can I bring me into the equation with my skill sets and what I'm really good at to make this work for me? So it's not like fitting within a mold or placing a strategy on top of what I think I want to do. It's blending you and the strategy and then your clients, the people that you can help to make it all work and flow. And I imagine that's really evolved over the years to really fit as your skills develop and as your seasons change and all of that. Do you have like any go-to books, resources, or communities that keep you like uplifted and like abreast of how to just maintain this balance?
Um, and first of all, I will say for those who are like thinking of starting a business now, I think it's harder for them, right? Because we're getting more
Mhm.
information head to us, right? There's more courses, more people to follow, more this, more this, more this. And it's harder to discern what your path is, what your custom thing is. So it is trickier for sure. Um, I mean, I don't think I can think of anything in particular that I work any moment that I'm not with my kids. I'm working. I am always working on my business. It's my hobby.
It's like, so it's your business, it's your hobby, it provides for you and your family. So it's like holistically, it's everything that you wanted to bring in your life, other than your children and your partner, right? So that's super cool because for there are those of us who just need to separate the two.
Mhm.
Um, and if we need to separate the two, then what does that look like? So, for example, I guess when I say the two, it's not necessarily just the two. But whenever we can't or we don't want to make our job our entire hobby, or if it's my a lot of people start their entrepreneurship journey based on their passions, but then you feel like you're getting lost in all of that work. How do you avoid from feeling like you're getting lost in the work if it is also your hobby and everything else?
I mean, I think it's important first to acknowledge that I don't think it's normal for like most people, their business is not their hobby. It's not like anyone I talk to at a networking event, they read books, they craft, they do really, and I'm jealous of them. I'm like, wow, that seems
Okay,
really
okay,
cool.
good.
So I think that that's the norm is to, yeah, have fun things that you do when you unplug. But I think that especially as women and as moms, and then having this business that like we do kind of hope that our um, business will support our family financially, right? So there's so much like riding on this.
Hmm.
And so like a friend was saying that they were moving, or their mom needs to move into a different location, right? And she's like, "Oh, I'm moving my mom. I haven't posted in a few days. I haven't, shared my business. I haven't done this and this and this." And the biggest piece of advice that I find myself giving on a pretty regular basis is stop trying to post. Be with your mom right now. Like you need to fully let something go. And so sometimes that means, you know what? Today is not the day for me to work on my business. Today is the day for me to sit in bed and crochet. And if you do that, like I want to know about it. I am so jealous of you. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Oh
I
my
think that's
gosh.
amazing. But it's something that like it's almost like someone needs permission to do it, right? Like another one of my clients runs two businesses and they're like, I'm trying to da da da. And I'm like, you need to put this aside. You need to close all those tabs, just be in one place. It's not possible. It's the same as like trying to work on your business or record a podcast and play a board game with the kids at the same time. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. There's just no
Yeah.
way.
There is no way. I mean, not yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We're working on it.
yeah, right. I mean, like with AI and everything, I'm sure we could do it all at once. Um, but okay. So a couple of things. One of them is being able to separate the two. It's really awesome. But at the same time, being able to combine the two is also really cool. So then it makes me wonder, Keri, have you expressed or explored your creative side? I know that you actually, with what you do, you incorporate creativity in your business a lot. But it uses different parts of our brains, right, to just be creative without being in work mode. And then blending work with creativity. Like those are two different kind of like freedoms, like in the ways that you feel and the emotions that you get, or the calm and relaxation doesn't necessarily come from the work. It comes from just like being, like you said, unplugged. So have you explored your creative side and how you can just do fun things or creative things without it being tied to work?
Pretty rarely, honestly. I tried oh, I think it's like a punch needle thing at Christmas. And it was in the donation bag to go to the like thrift store like by the afternoon because I was like, I
Oh
cannot figure it out. It was not bringing me joy. I did recently, my kids are old enough now that they can go to like the gym, like the like weightlifting gym.
no. Okay.
And normally I would take them and I would sit in the lobby with my laptop and work. And I have recently started leaving my laptop at home and just doing a workout while they work out, which is not creative, but it is a huge shift for me to just be like, well, I'm not done my work for the day, but I'm gonna they don't usually hang out with me in the gym, but they're like nearby, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That speaks to just having someone's presence and energy around them. It's something that I actually have thought a lot about whenever it comes to my parents and my children, because when we think about being present, it's like sitting down, eye contact, hanging out,
Hmm.
and not being a part of other things. However, being in the same room, sharing the same space and like energetic field, I guess, like for lack of better words, is also presence, right? It's us choosing to be together, doing our own activities, but we're here and we feel each other's essence. And to me, it's not necessarily the first tier or level of presence with one another, but it's another tier, and it still counts as being there and being a part of someone's life. And I think that doesn't get mentioned a lot. It's like the fact that you chose to go join them, you were doing your own work, but you were there with them, right? So like at any
Hmm.
moment they could get off of like a weight set and be like, hey mom, guess what? I just did 5 reps of 125 pounds. I have no idea what is good and what is bad when it comes to weight. So just throwing
Me
numbers out
neither.
there. You're right. Okay, good. So I
I
mean,
put it on no weight. I just do the
yeah.
movement.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
I showed up.
But yes, exactly. And actually, and you showed up for them too in that. So if they had something to celebrate, knowing that mom is right there and I could just run right to her versus saving that like excitement to come home to share that you might even forget to share, like that's too is another level of presence where if you can't find the specific one-on-one presence immediately, it's like, okay, how can I make small adjustments to be a part of the lives of the people I care about. And in this instance, we're talking about, your children and being a mom. But like same thing, if it is anyone else in your life in terms of relationship wise, or even if it's like a client. So when we're thinking like, okay, I can't be on a direct call with you, but here are the resources that I can send you in lieu of that. Or these days too, like there's lots of other tools like Voxer. A lot of people use WhatsApp now. So when it comes to your business, what does that look like for you and your clients? How do they communicate with you and how do you stay present with them?
So I always take their lead. Again, me being an observant
Oh, love
person,
that.
right? So it is always up to their discretion. And to be honest with you, I have some clients that they review their content, they pay, but other than that, they might go like 3 or 4 months without talking to me, maybe not even emailing during that time. And then others, we have like active Trello boards, like you said, WhatsApp, Slack, like depending on what they're on. I do like to personally, I like to follow what they actively use. So if they don't already have WhatsApp, I don't ask them to go there, vice versa if they don't have Slack. But yeah, it's so different for every person. Some are on a text basis, some are texting me, some are calling me. I'm totally open. Happy to go with the flow. And if I don't answer, they know I'm probably asleep. But it is something that I feel like is so different for every single person. And the strongest like way that we work together is by me following what works best for them, right? Like if I'm showing up in a way that doesn't support the way that they work or learn, it's not going to benefit me or them. So I definitely take their lead on that.
That's super cool. That's kind of like a dream person to work with because when you think about like going into a program or finding a specific service provider, you for me, you envision like going into their systems, like following their
Hmm.
lead, doing what they have already set up. Whereas when it's the other way around, it's just so much easier to blend in, like to what you already have, which means then it makes easier to build new habits, makes easier for you to do your job in helping to prevent the burnout and identify where we can improve the processes in business and life and in general. So then if where would you say a mom, an entrepreneur, like what kind of phase would they be in when would be the light bulb needs to go off to say, okay, I probably need some support here, or I need help here, or where you would be able to look and say, okay, this is where I can really help. Is there a certain phase or season that your clients are in when they come to you?
I think unfortunately it's coming quicker than usual. And again, that kind of
Mm,
ties back to what we were talking about, how there's so much information out there. There's so much about what
yeah.
you should do, what you shouldn't do, right? You should follow this, you should do that. And I think that the overwhelm and the overthinking, those are the words that I hear the most, right? Overwhelm and
Mm,
overthinking. Those come and set in, I think, quicker than usual. So it used to be something where, okay, my business is exploding. I need to hand something off. Whereas now it's like, I can't even see the path forward. And I think that that bums me out, but it's also exciting because it's like, okay, let's start off really strong. Let's just get everything ironed out right now. And let's filter out some of the garbage too, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that isn't made for us. So let's put it away right now.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think that's awesome. A lot of times too, we get so lost in what we're doing and how life is flowing that even if we do have the resources, the tools, the strategy, the map, like it's hard to implement that into our lives. So when we have an extra set of eyes from someone, from a third party who is able to see the bigger picture, it's much easier for someone else to help you in removing or holding something back while you focus on something that moves you forward versus me saying, well, I actually do need to prioritize these 18 things because they all have to get done tomorrow, you know?
Yes.
And bringing it into reality and saying like, okay, yes, there are 18 things that we're facing. However, there's not enough hours and not enough working hours even because you started a business to create freedom for yourself and to be present with your family and to do the things that you love. And so, if that's the case, there are certainly things that can fall off the list temporarily or can just be pushed back a little bit so that we can focus on the really important things that need to move forward now. Um, with that being said, do you have a system or a process that you start off with generally for everyone who comes to you, or is that something also that gets developed as you understand how they work?
So a bit of both. Typically when people come to me, it's about their visibility, right? Like I need to post on social media. That's the biggest thing because we all know that we need to do it in some capacity. And to be honest, it's kind of gotten more important, right? Because your
Yeah.
Facebook posts, your Instagram posts, they come up in Google search. It's a free platform. You got to figure out a way to be there somehow. We got to do it. And so that is the path that people come to me through. And then we start looking at, okay, once you figure out your voice, your content, like your things that you're going to do to get visible in the world, then we start to kind of follow this path that is a bit more customized where we're looking at like what's the client's journey or what's your customer's journey once they find you, what's going to happen to them, what are they buying, what are they going to go through, do you have any secondary platforms, right? Do you have a podcast, do you have an email newsletter, do you have a website they're going to, a blog, right? Like what's happening other than just this content because it has to be part of your whole world. So that's the
Hmm.
part where we kind of start to get curious and figure out specifically for each person what their perfect system is, what they like, what doesn't work for them. Some people they'll be like, "Oh, I'm posting on TikTok, it's just the worst." And I'm like, "Do you even like TikTok?" "No, I don't like it." We're deleting it right now.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not we're not doing things that don't bring us joy. I don't want anything for anyone that doesn't bring them joy. If you go to dinner, I want there to be food that you enjoy. If you get an elevator, I want you to like anyone in there. Like, we're not doing things that we don't like. It's not happening.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I love too that you are flexible enough to be able to see and identify like where things don't work and to work and make things work around what they already love. Um so that's really awesome. How did you get into like visibility and marketing and social media and all of that? Was that something that worked really well in the time that you were starting your business and you're like, okay, this is where I want to go? Or was it a passion of yours even before thinking about entrepreneurship?
So I was an operations manager for a business for a long time. And obviously that's always a piece of the operations. So it's always been in like the back pocket. And then I started an Etsy shop, my own Etsy shop. And I sold like vintage stuff. And I would actually, my kids were like babies at the time. And that would be like, we would go to a thrift store and we would find stuff and like in our spare time. And I would put it on my Etsy shop. And I had an Instagram that like actually did fairly well, especially at the time, but it was totally me just having fun. And then I started getting people in the community coming to me and being like, I want you to do my social media. I want
Mhm.
help. And so I would go on location, I would go to their business, I would gather content for them, I would edit, I would do all of these things. And then it's kind of obviously evolved the same way that social media has over the years. And so it is a little bit more of a bigger picture, right? It's not just like doing 2 posts a week and it's like a single image. Now it's a little bit deeper than that. But I think it's also made it more important for it to be sustainable, right? Like something that we can do long term. We need these businesses here long term, and we need to not burn out in the process. So it's definitely grown and developed. But it really did start out of me just having fun on my social media. And my social media, even though it's not for an Etsy shop anymore, it's probably just as silly as it always was.
Oh, yeah, I think that's really important to see too is if it's silly and fun, you're more incentivized to participate and show up and to do it because it's fun, because it's you, it's who you really are, versus feeling like whenever you open up your phone and ready to post, you have to be a certain way, you have to be polished, you have to be prepared and professional and all of these things that maybe you're just not in the moment. And like you said, if you need to put it aside and not post, okay, be present in the moment. But if you're going to post, which we should, like we all should, but find a way that makes sense for you, the platform that you really want to show up on, that you enjoy being on, and not forcing something else to work. Like really hone in on and do super well in one or maybe two platforms. And then once you have that all to where you want it to be, the growth that you wanted to achieve, then apply and learn the skills to do another platform. But at the end of the day, it is about your desire to show up. And if it's not fun, if it's not exciting for you, you're not going to want to show up. How do you make it fun for them? I hear a lot of like implementing what they're already doing and being a part of their life outside of those things. Is there another way, another strategy or another tip to be able to help them to show up more? Because sometimes you're living life and you haven't already mapped out the plan for this coming week or the next 2 weeks or months. If I'm in the moment, like, and I want to share or I want to post, like, what is the best way to do that without feeling like I have to be a certain way?
I mean, I think that it's hard to remind someone of this when they're in that kind of overwhelmed or overthinking phase of their business. And that never really goes away, just so everyone knows, like there's always pieces of that, right? Like I don't know if you'd agree with me, but like there is some days where you're like, what am I even doing? Like whose
Yeah,
idea was this?
for sure. But like sometimes, like you'll have. What I found is like there are days where it's just like, man, I'm on fire. Like
I know.
like I want to blow up my feed, but I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. And then there are days where like I do have the desire to share, but it's like my mind is just utterly blank. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I have my phone ready. I, it's like, but where do I start? And
Yeah.
because it's just so blank. And then the opposite happens. There's just so much. I'm like, I don't want to word vomit all into one
But
post.
I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that we have that's very lucky for us right now is that things that are overly polished, overly, like if I was just on this plain wall and I'm overly kind of structured, probably scripted, um, they're not actually performing that well because it's not human, it's not connection, right? We're seeing people just grab their phone and you can see the phone shake at the beginning and they're in their car and they're like, I just was in the grocery store and this thing happened. And they just like say the thing. And sometimes that means that if you are on one of those like fire days, you just keep it rolling and you just keep like spitting off the cuff, right? Just like say the thing. And it is our like advantage right now that we are human, that we are a little bit silly, maybe a little bit messy. I've always found that my content that has like stuff in the background does better, right? Because people are like, oh, I have that t-shirt, or like, they kind of are commenting on not just the thing that I'm talking about, but all these other things going on in the background. I did a story once, you can see my hand, I'm pouring wine into a Mickey Mouse cup. And I got like 10 replies right away. And it said, my story said something about working on my website, like it's a nightmare or something, right? And some people were like, oh, what kind of website host do you have? Oh, I hate working on my website too. Oh, I got that wine at Costco. Did you get it at the one at this location? Oh, I have that cup, right? The conversations around this very simple, silly thing that probably isn't that professional, but it's those things that make us more human that are connecting now. And so like if I'm editing for someone, I obviously give them things that I want them to film. But what I really see like unlock for them is when I get enough that I can put it together into a reel that's like really fun or exciting that I know that they'll like. Once they see it in action, I can really see them be like, oh, I'm going to film more like that. I'm going to do more, right? Like we can kind of unlock this fun piece of it. Last summer, I was feeling kind of like I didn't want to do Instagram anymore. Like not for other people, but for myself. I was like, I'm sick of
Yeah.
this. And for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to post 4 times a day. So all last summer, I posted 4 times a day. No sales content, no strategy, just purely me, like, whatever it was on my mind. 4 times a day, all summer. And my views, of course, went crazy, but also I had so much connection and conversation all summer. My DMs were blowing up all summer because I just showed up as myself. Probably didn't have my best sales summer, but I fell back in love with doing this fun thing.
Mm. I think that is something that people have a hard time understanding is or maybe I mean I guess wrapping their head around the fact that like n- yes, you can use your platforms for sales and growing your business, but at the end of the day, people are connecting and investing in people that they um, love, people that
Yeah.
they can relate to, people that they trust. And it's people. There are so many AI tools and so many programs and systems and stuff that's automated and published, but it's the rawness and the human behind what's being posted, what's being shared that then ties to your business that makes people wonder, okay, how do I work with this person? Maybe not exactly how they help somebody else or how they're living their lives, but how can I just see more of this person? How can I live more freely like them? Or how can I just be as happy as they are or can as silly or it's the little nuances in what you put into your video and the things that you share that shows your everyday and who you are that people feel connected to. And I love that you shared that because every person can choose to be themselves and every person can be visible as themselves. It's not something that's like only I can do or only you can do. And it's once we understand that people want to be connected to you and your story and who you are, that then they are like, okay, maybe I can show up as myself and maybe I don't have to be so polished or I just got out of bed and I'm looking a little rough, but it's real, it's honest. Like I haven't put my makeup on yet or I haven't even brushed my hair or my teeth, but you know what?
Yeah.
I had a thought and I want to share it with you. And and I think also too that attracts the right people, but it also turns off the people who weren't meant for you anyway, which I
Mhm.
think is just as important when you're building your presence and sharing about your business. Like you want the right people, but you also want to get rid of the wrong people who aren't right for you. So I think the more raw you can be, the more real you can be. It's a better process all around. It's easier for you to show up and then easier for you to bring in the right people. So with all of that said, um, Keri, what are you working on these days? What are you excited about?
I am excited about um I don't know, all my clients right now. I'm just so excited about creating for them. I'm excited about the direction that they're going. I did open up a couple spots so I can take on a couple more. And it really is like just this clear understanding of where I am, what everyone needs, and what I can support with. I think that there's so much opportunity to show people what they can do, what they can share, how we can be on the internet, and how we can kind of create these small groups of people that are our little communities. And we don't need to be going viral. We don't need to be getting millions of views. We just got to have a circle and, create connection, something that you're great at.
Oh, thank you. Yes, but yes, I thank you for closing it out like that. That was perfect. It's like, okay, we're done, folks. We'll see you later.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Wrap it up.
yeah. Well, no, that's perfect. And that's exactly it. Is everything all in one. And I love that this conversation was not just about business and that it was about
Yeah.
life in general and about family and parenting. Because who we all are. We're dynamic humans with a lot to us. It's not, I'm not just an entrepreneur. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a partner. All of us, we have all of these elements to us. So how do we share each element and make it so that we can connect with the right people and find the people we were meant to find and create those connections? So, Keri, I have all of the links to share with everyone to find you online. Is there anything else that you would like to share or anything else that you would like for people to know, a message before we go ahead and end this conversation, but maybe have another one in the future because this was so much fun?
No, it was super fun. I really appreciate it. I definitely just want people to walk away and kind of consider the possibility that you can create your own path and that you can build your own custom life and business, and that it doesn't have to fit the mold or follow the rules that maybe we've been told it does. Because yeah, you can do it anything you want to do. There's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules. There's no rules. I love it. Thank you so much again, Keri. If you found value in this conversation, connect with me, connect with Keri. Let us know, like, what was your favorite part? What did you come out of this conversation with? And please subscribe. Um, Follow Keri all over social media because she's there and she's doing great stuff. Me too, of course. But if you feel like this is something that's really supported you, a review would be super awesome. We will know that we're on the right track. And we'll bring on more great people like Keri who are doing life in a really special way, a way that we can all tap into as long as we identify what we want and how we can do it. And exactly like Keri said, there's not any specific mold. We can break the rules. Life was created for us to really run the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode of Creating Connections.